Welcome to the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. The Falls Count Everywhere podcast would like to mention our friends at the following: the Searcher and Hide podcast, for mind intriguing discussions about wrestling, movies, Bigfoot, aliens, and everything in between. Then look no further than the Searcher and Hide podcast. You can find the Searcher and Hide podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms. Go check them out today. And Outside the Ring STL, join Shaft and General Vader along with others who share their love for professional wrestling as they talk about the recent shows from the major wrestling companies, all independent promotions from around the St. Louis area, and even talk about great moments in St. Louis professional wrestling history. Find them on Facebook at Outside the Ring STL. Get ready for episode number 66 of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast, featuring longtime wrestling veteran out of the Midwest, the Iceman. We thank all of you joining us for tonight's episode of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. Before we get underway, we pay honor, tribute, and respect to the greatest nation in the world as we play our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for that ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets right glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the
Hey, good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday evening, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. I am one of your co-hosts here, Rough Cut Rick Ruby, and of course, to the right of the screen is the other co-host here for this evening. He's none other than the Gem City Mouse, Zmiz. What's going on, bud?
I had to rush because I forgot my tablet upstairs. So we're here, but we're ready. We're live. We're ready to go. Let's do it. I'm excited. I've been watching a lot of stuff about Iceman the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah. Of course, in about 15 minutes or so, we will have the Iceman on as our special guest here for this evening. And yeah, so we're looking forward to all of that, and we're going to be getting into some good stuff for sure with the Iceman. Of course, the Iceman was actually at the show that I was at this past weekend, American Championship Wrestling in Cuba, and he was actually involved with my match, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But man, if I sound a little bit, kind of raspy or whatever, somehow overnight with this wicked weather change here in the Midwest, my wife decided to turn off the heat, and it was like 66, and I had my mouth open, and next thing you know, I'm like hoarse and trying to fight a mucus battle. So there you go.
Our heat's been turned off for like 2 weeks now.
Oh, yeah. So either way, it's like I woke up with like 66, and oh my gosh, well, what do you do? So we're gonna manage on with that. But hey, we're gonna get to a few things here, and then we're gonna get to our upcoming shows here for the next couple of weeks around the area, and just take it from there. First off, like I said, ACW is in Cuba, Missouri this past Saturday, with a paid attendance of just shy of 300. The crowd was up the entire night. It was pretty tough to get through the crowd because it was pretty swamped and packed. And when you're fighting for room at a venue, then it's you're done good. So hats off to ACW.
That's what I like to see right there. Look at that. Look at that. Switching from NXT to us. That's what's up. That's what's up right there.
There you go.
Continue. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. No, it's that's all good. That's all good. So I wanted to let me go. Let's see if I can share this here real quick. If I can share the window. There we go.
Hi, Alan.
There we go. Alan's there. And we'll get to some other stuff here shortly. But yeah, but that was this past weekend. The Lumberjacks are still the tag team champions. Unfortunately, Lumberjack Abe got injured by virtue of getting beat in the forearm with a crowbar. Apparently, there's at least a fracture in that arm. And we'll see if they show up in 4 weeks in Melville on March 26th. Guy Smith retains his title after Playboy decides to got involved and interfered, and there was no contest. And Brian James escaped out of the casket match, so he's still alive. Where the Brujo is, I don't know, but everything is good here. And another big announcement here, because one show we haven't gotten to yet, and it's a big event with SICW that hasn't happened in about a few years, but it's going to happen, is the Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup Battle Royal. And usually there's a special guest in attendance. And it was announced earlier this week. Let's see if I got this one or not.
I want to be there so bad for this just because of who it is.
Yeah, well, like I said, you're gonna love this. But let me see.
Oh, I already know.
You already know. Well, we gotta let's see. I don't want to fly through my.
If it's the announcement that Herb sent me personally, I loved it, and it got posted right to We Talk Wrestling.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to see if I can even have it. Oh, you know what? I guess you know what I gotta do. I gotta re-add it. Don't worry, folks. We're working through glitches as always. It wouldn't be a normal show if we didn't have that. So, but yeah, let's share this bad boy. If you watch WWE within the last 10 years or so, you will know, or even
Coulter.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Dutch Mantel.
Yeah, that's right. In WWE, it was Zeb Coulter, but a lot of us old schoolers know him as Dutch Mantel. He will actually be in attendance and that will be on Saturday.
Dirty Dutch. Oh,
Dirty Dutch Mantel,
so
Saturday, May 14th is the date.
He's so pumped to be there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I'm throwing my hat in the ring right now, and I will make the announcement that I do want to be in that battle royal. So,
one of the great managers right there.
Yeah, I mean, not just managers, but I mean, he was pretty crafty in his competitive days inside the ring too.
Fact.
Yeah, so he
But you
was.
see, I'm younger than you, and I know him as the manager. Like, so I had to go back and watch the man's greatness as an in-ring competitor. But I'm sorry, I loved everything about Zeb Coulter and Dirty Dutch Mantel. So
Yeah. So Dutch Mantel, Zeb Coulter will be in attendance May 14th at the East Carondelet Community Center to oversee the Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup Battle Royal, and looking forward to that. But let's go over some of the shows here. Then we'll get to maybe another topic here.
we the people. Sorry.
Yes. No, that went over. I don't care. That went over. I love the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. I loved everything that Swagger and him did. I'm sorry, I was a fan of it. I was.
Everything about that was a great, so good. I love, but I'm a huge Jack Swagger fan. So, and then they added Cesaro, two of my faves. He's just a legend. So I wear my Jack Swagger shirt very proudly. I have the shirt that we the people love it. Sorry. Back to the show.
Hey.
Back.
Oh yeah. Well, it's gonna be kind of exciting, man. So you need to come down for that one for sure. Let's talk about shows that come here within the next 2 weeks. So this coming Saturday, March 5th, IEW presents Above and Beyond at Bogarts in Jacksonville, Illinois. Doors open at 5, bell times at 6. If you haven't got your tickets in advance, it's going to be $12 at the door for adults, $5 for kids. And we'll have to see the ongoing saga between the Irish Devil Douglas O'Shea and Playboy Double H. Where does that lead? And, of course,
I had meatloaf today.
Chaos apparently was just announced that Chaos will defend against the role model Stephen Bishop, putting up the IEW heavyweight title. Let's see. Next one is for next weekend on Saturday, March 12th. MMWA presents Madness for Gold down at the South Broadway Athletic Club. I believe all tickets are $10. The doors open at 6, bell times at 7. So you can see all the stars that are there and a bunch of titles and a big bucket of gold. I don't know what that's involved with, but hey, get down. You got to love it when they advertise full bar $2 drafts, especially when it gets around St. Patty's Day, man. You got to love it. time to get that. Is that the time of year you got to get that green beer, man. You got to get it. So
I like the other green, but continue.
Oh, Lord, where's my rib shot when I need it? Oh, it's not loaded yet. Oh well. Oh, shit. So next one, here we go. Also on that Saturday night, SICW returns to the East Carondelet Community Center. 2 big matches have been announced. Gary Jackson, the Night Train, puts up the SICW Central States Championship against the 450-pound Kowalski. And
he's going to do what you couldn't do. I hate to say that, Ruby, but he has to do what you couldn't do. Take it away from him. Kowalski all day.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care how big and bad Kowalski thinks he is. Gary Jackson is crafty, and there's a reason why I'm not the champ. And he's going to find out if he doesn't capitalize on what I had to endure, then he's going to strike out as well. But we'll see. But Attila Khan also puts up a Hall of Fame Classic Championship against Flash Flanagan. And this has been a long time. This has turned into a grudge match. Travis Cook has made it personal. Flash is steaming mad, and that's going to be pretty much a bloodbath, I would imagine. And then, of course, Then, of course, the following day, Sunday, March 13th, there will be a TV taping for SACW All-Star Wrestling. You can get in there free with bringing in your ticket stub for the Saturday night show. If you missed the Saturday night show and you want to attend the taping, reach out to SICW Wrestling Explosion on Facebook, and they will do what they can for you to kind of make some arrangements here. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here for a moment. And one thing I wanted to talk about, there wasn't really much that I saw here this week, Z, as far as major news, unless it's something that's caught your eye. But something that something that I've heard or rumored again that WWE is changing its mind about a title, about the Universal and the WWE title unifying at WrestleMania. So I have no idea what the hell's going on.
I'm so confused, and it's funny because even it seemed like Seth and Kevin last night were making fun of the fact that they were changing their mind on unifying it or not in one of their promos. But no, there really isn't much going on in the world of wrestling. I want them to unify the titles. I want them to unify it. It should have been that way in the first place. It should never have been. I remember back when they first did the brand split back in the day, and it was both of them went back and forth the way it should have been. It's real easy to have that title bouncing between both shows, and then that gives you more credibility for both the United States and the IC title. We saw the start on Raw of the potential of letting the U.S. title be a more of a main staple-ish look, with Damian Priest and Finn Balor having an amazing match. Very, very well done for TV. I enjoyed every minute of it with Finn getting the win, which was awesome to see Finn finally hold gold again. I'm a big Balor fan. Always been a Prince Devitt fan anyway. So it's cool to see him kind of get some wind back in his sail. And I feel like him and Damian Priest could have a really good performance with Damian becoming a monster heel like he should be.
Yeah.
So that's what I think needs to happen. So WWE, just stop with it, Vince. Stop going, your dementia's getting the best of you. Just unify the titles, be done with it, and go from there. I understand you got to appease both USA and Fox and all that shit, but we got to stop appeasing the networks all the time about everything. Wrestling was done for a reason in certain ways, and the titles need to mean something again. Yes, they're just a prop for things. Yes, they're just to advance storylines sometimes, but not every fan believes it that way.
Right.
The titles mean something. Look, for you to have those titles on your wall like that, every one of those titles means something to you as a fan. Not talking about you being a wrestling person. As a fan, You got those for a reason. I have the $1 million title sitting above my TV for a reason. Not only because it's the greatest title that ever was designed, but it was one of the greatest heel titles ever designed for a specific heel. So we get attached to him for some reason. Let's bring that back. Sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. But like I said, the titles that need to unify are the women's titles, the tag titles, and Universal and WWE titles. I'm
actually okay with the tag team titles being. No, you're right. You're right. No, I'm with you. I'll stand beside you on that. Tag team titles need to be unified. I agree.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I would think and also another thing here is I don't know what has really transpired here. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to catching that Pat McAfee show on Thursday.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that's gonna be lit.
Hold on, I'm gonna do a plug for us real quick, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I, as a fan, went out and subscribed to Pat McAfee's channel, not because that I like everything he has on Pat McAfee's show, but I like Pat McAfee, so I did it. So, once again, I don't know this guy. You guys know us for the most part. You should go into our YouTube channel, Falls Count Everywhere podcast. Yeah. Subscribing. We're not going to like everything we have on there, but you're going to like us, and you're going to enjoy it sometimes. So get over there and get Pat McAfee's show, get our show, and enjoy some good content, especially this week with, Vince McMahon. I think it's Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m.
12 o'clock.
Right.
Yep.
And if you do have SiriusXM, it's actually channel 82, which I have SiriusXM, which I may have to catch the audio part. But
I can't wait for it. His and Pat McAfee's and Brock Lesnar sit down was gold. So much greatness there. So much. Pat McAfee is a gem to the wrestling world, and people do not understand how good the man is. I strive to be like him when it comes to Pat McAfee has become my idol when it comes to commentating, doing podcasts, all this stuff. The dude's that good. I respect it.
Yeah, I definitely respect the energy but sometimes, man, he just gets too nuts for me. I'm like, oh my God, here he goes again. but that's just me.
I mean, it's kind of nice though sometimes. Like it's definitely a breath of fresh air when it comes to the commentary table, and like him and Michael Cole's. It's kind of like you and I. I have more energy. You kind of more the level-headed one of us, and it works. So like watching them two work together, and then I even put it to us. I'm like, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's just greatness, just brewing.
Yeah, contrast to styles definitely helps make the world go round. I do admit so, but I'm looking forward to that. But as far as this come April 2nd and April 3rd, I don't know what's going to be so stupendous about a 2-night WrestleMania, which I don't even know of like any matches that would carry over 2 nights. That's just me personally. I mean, Brock and Roman right now, obviously that's going to be a Sunday, but I'm going to call right now probably Charlotte and Ronda is going to be the main event of Saturday night. But
so they announced Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair April 2nd. So that is the first night. That's Saturday, right?
Okay, well then in that case, you don't want to put both women's matches on the same night, though.
You're thinking the way I'm thinking. Logan Paul and them are on night 1, if I'm not mistaken. And I have a feeling we're going to see Edge versus the phenomenal one be night 1 too. So I think that's going to be like your big structure of night 1 is going to be Miz and Logan Paul versus the Mysterios. The women's title for the Raw women's title, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, and then Edge and the phenomenal one. I think that's going to be like your big 3 on that one. And then who knows what, Brock and Roman are definitely night 2 main event. If they're not, I don't know what WWE is doing. Like that needs to be main event. Like I am so ready for that match, and I hope it's for the unifying of the title.
Yeah, me
go
too.
ahead.
I mean, I will lay my deed down that it will happen on Sunday. If for some reason they put it on Saturday, I'll tell you what. I'm not even going to watch Sunday. I'd be like, forget it. I don't care. Why? It's just because it's booking nonsense to me. But that's just me.
I mean, I think we're going to get Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee too. One of those nights.
Oh my God,
I really feel like that's going to happen.
Come on. Oh man,
I'm calling it now. It's going to be Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee.
Oh my God, GQ, I got your freaking message already. Will you stop? God, will you wait? GQ gets on here and trolls us. Ask this. Ask that.
GQ is a troll.
How about if I can ask you to shut the hell up?
We love you, GQ.
Oh God, I got it. Jesus. We're not going to waste any more time here. Our guest is actually waiting in the green room very patiently. So we're going to go ahead and work on bringing him on here. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest that we have here for you this evening is actually a veteran who actually started his pursuit of professional wrestling in the business since 1999. Ever since then, he's traveled throughout 8 states. He's won about 14 titles. And he's still up and kicking here. And even recently, within the last 6 years or so, he's actually gotten some work in WWE, which we're going to get into as well here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, right out of New Breed Wrestling, which is his home promotion and out of Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the Iceman. And if I have my applause, I would have had you on here, but I was. There you go. There you go. Hey.
We pump music. We pump sounds in just like Vince does.
Yeah. So, Iceman, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, man, I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing okay, man. We're just trying to, as always, every Tuesday night, trying to get our feet off the ground, and sometimes it takes a little while, but
it's all right.
But, man, I'll tell you, we were just talking as we kicked off the show before you got into the green room, how you and I got reacquainted in ACW this past weekend. And, well, we didn't have a winning end to our match. But either way, it was still a very competitive battle and good stuff. and there's always next show. You know, as long as
Absolutely, yes.
as long as you're walking out of the ring, there's always next show. So,
Absolutely.
but on behalf of Z and myself, I do want to thank you very much for taking the time out here tonight to hang out with us here. You know, like I said, reviewing over your resume, you've done some amazing things already, even as an independent worker, and made the effort. You put yourself out there, man, and we're just, man, I know, I'm definitely impressed. So we're going to go ahead and get right down to it, and I've actually got the first question here for you, Ice. You know, because I definitely, when we start off, I like to have our guests tell us, you know, how your love for professional wrestling start, you know, how you got and then how you got your chance to get involved in the wrestling business.
Well, my love for professional wrestling started, you know, just like everybody else. It started as whenever I was a kid. Used to spend a lot of time with my grandfather, who was a huge wrestling fan, and so one night I sat down with him, started watching, fell in love with, you know, the over the top characters, all that good stuff. And, you know, I was hooked. So I always kind of maintained, you know, a love and a passion for it, you know, growing up. There was a short time where I kind of got out of like watching it on a pretty regular basis, and then kind of got back into it. Probably right at the beginning of, you know, Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars, that whole thing, and it kind of reignited my love for it. And so, now how I got into it was, I mean, I'd been looking for quite some time how to get into it, because I always thought I wanted to do it, and finally ended up going to a independent show in a town, probably about 20 minutes or so from where I live. And lo and behold, as I'm sitting there watching the show, I mean, there was nobody on the card that I knew of. Is my first exposure to independent wrestling, actually. But there was no like names of any sort. So as I'm watching, you know, I'm enjoying the show. Out comes this guy that actually was a couple of years ahead of me in high school. He was a manager of this tag team. So intermission, went and talked to him. He introduced me to the promoter. I told the promoter, hey, I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid. How do I get started? So about a week or so later, I drove over to St. Joe, Missouri, and for a tryout in this guy's ring. Which was not my best experience. Actually, it almost caused me to stop wrestling before I even got started. So, but that's kind of how I got into wrestling, and kind of got a feel for what it was like to be in a ring. So,
oh man,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead, brother.
It's quite funny because like I was watching on New Breed Wrestling's YouTube page. There's an episode specifically just for you. And your first thing was coming out of the box saying my grandfather got me into it by watching it. That's how my love started. It was my grandmother, though. It was my grandmother that got me into it. Now, I would go over to my grandmother's house every Thursday night for Thursday Night Thunder and watch professional wrestling with her. And then when she went to the nursing home, I made sure every Monday her and I watched Raw up in the nursing home stuff. So, like, that's where my love came from. So I was hooked onto your story from the moment I watched that, like excited, pumped for this whole conversation. Cause I'm like, I feel the same way about it, the way you did with, you know, your grandfather and watching with him and what you're saying. And that was awesome, dude. So
yeah, it was, I looked forward to it. Like every week we would go to my grandparents' house, like every Sunday. It was like a family tradition. You know, cousins and aunts and uncles would come from far away, and we'd all have dinner and just hang out, you know, a lot of good family time. Since you know, as you probably seen in that episode, I said, you know, my family and I lived the closest, so we'd always stay the latest. Right. Well, we'd stay right about the time wrestling would start, man. And while everybody else was hanging out on the other side of the house, my grandpa went on into the living room, grabbed his drink, his snacks, whatever, and just turned the TV on, and there it was. If you wanted to come in and watch it, fantastic, but do not come in there and ask questions. Do not play around. It was sit, watch wrestling, or go to the next room. Well, I sat right next to him, and I can picture it to this day how into it he was. Like I mean, the heels were heels, the baby faces were baby faces, and he had his favorites and he had his ones that he absolutely hated, that I swore a few times he was going to tear up his TV. He probably would have if it wouldn't have been if it wasn't the only TV in the house. So I mean, especially whenever the heels that were on that he just absolutely despised. I mean, I swear that man come up out of his chair more times than I could count. You know, I mean, whenever the heels would cheat to win, I mean, it was amazing to see, especially as a kid. And so that made me like truly believe what he was watching, because I'm watching it with him, and his passion just rubbed off on me. And yeah, you know, and yeah, man, that's why I've been doing it for as long as I have, because of him. So
now, did your family members come in to watch you guys watch wrestling? Because that's how ours was. It was everybody else watching my grandmother and I watch wrestling, because we're yelling at I hated Hogan because he switched into the NWO. So I remember in WCW, we're watching Monday Night Raw Monday Night Nitro once, and when Hogan came out, my grandma was getting pissed. She's like, "You were a good guy. You did it for the kids," like screaming at it. I'm like, "Yeah, grandma, screw it." Like it was that for us. So like.
No, the other family members would stay away, especially like my mom, because, you know, my mom, you know, growing up, you know, didn't have, but like I said, one TV, you know, probably about 4 channels tops, you know, and so she had to watch wrestling or not watch TV at all growing up, basically. So she wasn't interested in watching us react to it or anything like that. So, I mean, but, you know, her tune and her towards wrestling has changed over the years, of course, but.
Funny. Z, go on with your next question, brother.
Yeah. So with all that said and done, who trained you, and how long did it take for you to really get your footing in wrestling? And really know it was going to be your passion, your desire to continue into that world?
Well, as I just said, the first guy I had my first experience with in the ring, I really don't count that as any sort of training. That's more of a horror story that I like to share with the younger guys, of the kind of promoters to stay away from. I eventually stumbled across a company in St. Joseph, Missouri, called Central States Wrestling Federation, which they would later on just be called Central States Wrestling. It was ran by a promoter called Steve Ward, and his guys there mainly did the training. But the one guy who trained me the most is another well-known guy throughout the Midwest, Michael Strider. If you're familiar with him, he hasn't been active in the ring for quite a while actually, but he's from Kansas City, a hard-hitting guy. He was self-taught, but then he went and trained with Dory Funk Jr. For quite some time, and then come back and taught us basically everything that he got taught. So that's who I originally started training with. So
how long was it before you got your first match then, after training?
I was 3 months into training when I got my first match, only because there was a cancellation on the show. And that's where I learned the very vital rule of always come prepared. If you come to a show to watch, be prepared, because you might get booked. Luckily for me, I was just with Central States Wrestling for, you know, that was the only company I worked for a long time. So every show, if you wasn't wrestling, you had to do, you know, all the setup and the tear down and all that stuff like that. So obviously I had all my gear with me, and I had talked to the promoter about a week prior to the show, and he wanted to know, hey, you got a gimmick together? You got geared? You are, you know, if something happens, do you think that you can step up and work? I said, yeah, absolutely. So a week later, here comes the show. Lo and behold, I get there the day of the show, go on in to start doing my job as, you know, set up, tear down, all that stuff, because I'm a rookie, got to pay the dues, right? And so he said, well, we had a guy cancel, and we need you in a match with another guy that's been doing it for a long time. I told the story in that New Breed episode there. And yeah, so I got my first match, against this guy, who he probably could have took care of me a little bit more, but hey, that's the nature of the business. But and then so I had my first match in front of about 2,000 people, man, and that day right there, even though I come out on the losing end and even came out injured, I knew right then and there that was something that I wanted to do. I didn't care where it took me, how far I got. I just knew I wanted to do it.
Wow. Holy
Respect.
crap. Or around 2,000 people on a debut match that you weren't even prepared for, I guess.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to be booked. That right there has to take nerves of steel. Because I know I was nervous around just 250 people, but 2,000, my God. That would that's a game changer, at least for me. I might look out and pan across the crowd, but
Yeah.
oh my gosh, holy crap! So you've already mentioned about your grandfather, getting you into got you into wrestling, but was he as you got on, getting your start into the business and everything else? Is there any particular family member or friend that inspired you and supported you through most of your throughout your professional wrestling career?
Well, my mom ended up being a surprise supporter of wrestling whenever I first got started. Because as I said, she grew up around it, so she wasn't a big fan. So I talked her into coming and watching me in, some of my early, probably within that first year that I was really getting going. And, she came to the show, my sister came to the show, a bunch of friends, and my mom turned into, even to this day, she's still one of my biggest supporters. So, and just her alone is a very, very inspirational to me. Single mom, raised 2 kids, worked her butt off to make ends meet, that whole story, turned out, she's just an amazing woman. So, she's definitely an inspiration. So I wanted to, when I got into it, I wanted to stick with it, because that's what she always did. She stuck with whatever she set out to do. So, surprisingly, she was against it in the beginning. And then once she came and seen how much I enjoyed it and the energy and the atmosphere, she's become one of my biggest supporters.
Nice. You talked about her having one of your first promotion photos that you did of yourself in your house, actually, on that YouTube show. Highly recommend people go out and take their time to go to the New Breed Wrestling YouTube page and actually watch that, because it was enjoyable. I actually had a lot of fun watching that. My son and I actually did. So
good. Yeah. She it was an early. Oh my gosh, I wish I could take that picture over again, but it was it was one of my early promo pictures I did after I won one of my first titles. And I just, I autographed it, to my mom, my number one fan, and I said, your son, the Iceman. So, and she framed it and she displays it proudly in her home.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So we talked about like the Central State Wrestling company that you were at, the promotion. What other promotions have you been with? And like, what was your favorite promotion to be in the locker room, in the crowd? Like, who was the one that stood out to you the most?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've lost count how many promotions that I've worked for. But there's a lot that really stand out to me, and a lot of them are very important to me, and for many different reasons. Central States Wrestling obviously was the company who gave me my start, and that's why I was very faithful to them for probably a good, my 3-4 years, maybe up to 5 years of my wrestling days. One, because they ran so many shows, I didn't have to go anywhere. They had a big enough roster where we were always mixing it up. We had a great following, and the promoter did a wonderful job basically creating a territory for himself. So we were able to do the towns, and we had a following so we could do storylines. It was awesome. So that company will always hold a special place in my heart, because I've got to meet so many great people in the beginning who are still there's still a small handful of them, involved in wrestling somehow today, whether it's they're promoting now or they're still active in the ring. So that stands out the greatest as one of the greatest companies I ever worked for. Excuse me. Another one would be Metro Pro Wrestling out of Kansas City. That ran for a lot of years. The promoter there, his name's Chris Goff. He actually worked for WWE for a short time on creative, I believe. And he's from the Kansas City area. So after he left WWE, him and his family moved back to Kansas City, and he started Metro Pro. Once I got in with them, oh my gosh, I was able to do so many awesome things and work with so many awesome people. I got to meet people like Adam Pearce.
That'd be awesome.
I got to meet guys like let's see who else. Got to meet guys like Rhino. Got to see some people and meet some people while they were on the Indies before they got signed, like Simon Gotch. I actually got to wrestle him at a Metro Pro show. I got to wrestle ACH at a Metro Pro show. So a lot of stars came through that place. Got to meet Stevie Richards there. Jim Cornette, got to meet him there. And I could go on and on. But with Metro Pro, that's whenever I turned full-fledged heel and got to experience being a heel and had full creative control of my character and my storylines and the whole thing. And it ended up adding a whole new dimension to the Iceman. And that's where I introduced the international dance champion, to where I would come out with holding a dance trophy, and I would challenge all my opponents to a dance off. And they had to take me up on the challenge, or we wouldn't have the match.
That's gold. As a fan of Disco Inferno and Alex Wright, I love that idea and concept.
Well, then I encourage you to go on YouTube and search, the Iceman Metro Pro, and you could probably our TV show. He had weekly TV. All that's still on YouTube. So
trust me, that would be something I'll be looking up right after the show, probably.
If I can recommend one match to go and find from Metro Pro, is myself versus the Human Wrecking Ball, Pete Madden.
Oh, yes.
We had a hardcore dance off, and I'll just leave it at that.
Sold.
It is. I went back and rewatched that match so many times. It's got to be in my, oh my gosh, top 5 favorite matches of all time, and that's saying a lot since I've been doing this for 22 years. So, but it's got to be one of my favorites from start to finish.
Wow.
Right on.
Wow, that I have to see, because knowing I've known Pete since after I just gotten into biz, probably around just about a year into the biz, I've known Pete, and then of course he's a member of the Midwest Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, and talked with him ever since then. Pete,
he was one of the people that were on my wrestling bucket list of guys that I want to wrestle against before I decided to get out of wrestling. So
right.
but going back to your original question, CSW, Metro Pro, oh my gosh, New Breed. I've got to throw New Breed Wrestling in there, as a favorite promotion. When they first started their promotion, the promoter called me. I was one of the first guys he called. So, he took a chance on bringing in, a guy that's been around for a while to help him get a company up and going. So, always enjoyed going to Iowa and wrestling for 3X Wrestling. They always had some great, names come through there. I know I'm probably leaving some guys out, some promotions out. So any promoters that hear this that's used me, please don't get mad. Let's put it this way. In 22 years, I have definitely have a bigger list of promotions that I like and love over promotions I don't.
Nice.
Which says a lot, because like I said, I've worked for a lot of different companies. A lot of them can be thrown in the category of dumpster fire promotions. And then there's other ones like Central States and New Breed and Metro Pro and so on that could be listed as, in my opinion, some of the best on the independent scene.
And back to Corey's question real quick. I just want to throw this out there. What promotions do you currently like reside in? New Breed obviously is your home one, correct? What other ones are out there?
Yeah, New Breed's probably the one I wrestle for the most. Coming in at a close second would be one I didn't mention that has also become quickly one of my favorites. I've only been wrestling for them for probably a couple of years or so now, and that's Mid-States Wrestling. They're based out of Harrison, Arkansas, but they do run in Missouri sometimes. The promoter, Space Cowboy Jason Jones, one of my longtime friends in the wrestling business. So I would say New Breed and Mid-States are fairly close to like home promotion. But at this point, I've probably wrestled for New Breed more. So I guess you could say New Breed is probably my home promotion, yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
There's your answer, Corey.
There you go.
Thanks, Corey.
So we're going to get to, like I said, I was looking at your bio that you sent over and mentioned if you doing some work for WWE several times since 2015. Now, out of all the jobs that you were given and assigned, which one stands out to you as your favorite and why?
Oh, easy. Whenever I was sitting ringside as a production assistant and I took a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre.
Oh,
What?
oh my God.
It was a Monday Night Raw. This happened in January of 2020. Yeah, actually, that's a picture of me being a ringside doctor helping out Chad Gable.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, where I took the Claymore kick was it was the year that Drew McIntyre won the Royal Rumble.
Right on.
So that would have been January of 2020, before the world shut down. I can't remember where it was at, though. But anyway, it was Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. They started fighting outside the ring. He had Randy Orton set up to receive the Claymore. In mid-flight, Randy moves. I eat the Claymore, and I get kicked right out of my chair.
Oh,
I'm going to look this one up, too.
That happened to be that was one of my favorite moments for lots of reasons. One, because I got to take a move from somebody in WWE, and it's just my favorite because I actually got to be physically involved. I mean, that was the first time I got to be physically involved out of all the times I worked for him on camera. That's the first time I had anything happen to me. And let me tell you, there ain't nothing more scarier than sitting there in a chair and all of a sudden you see a dude as big as Drew McIntyre flying towards you. I mean, you have no time to react. I literally had no time to react. It was just all of a sudden there was his foot. I got kicked and I'm on my ass. So that's
What was it like taking the Claymore? Like fully, like because he has he has a 13, right? I think it's 13 size foot.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. What was it like? It sucked. It was well, I tell you, it was awesome. But it sucked at the same time. So
were you marking out in pain? Like, oh my God, this is awesome, but this hurts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When the guys come out to pick me up and help me to the back, I'm thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I hope that looked good. Hope that looked good. That was awesome. I can't wait to see the replay.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
holy crap.
So besides like doing some of the side work for WWE, you also have tried out twice for their roster. Tell us the experience and the matches that went into that and like the overall atmosphere of that time.
Well, when WWE brings in local talent, to be extra, talent. And once in a while you see those guys get on TV and have matches and stuff. They used to have matches before TV would start, and they were basically, tryout matches for some of the backstage producers. Back in the day, they used to do this a lot, and then they started slowing down a little bit. But basically, you got out of all the extra guys there, you basically get paired up with somebody, and you go in and have a match. They say, "Hey, you got 4 or 5 minutes. Let's see what you got." Now they're not looking for, at that particular time of the match, they're not looking for your gimmick or anything like that. So I couldn't, wow them with my dancing skills or anything like that. Basically, they want to see your footwork. They want to see how you work in the ring, how you, transition from move to move. Fortunately for me, both of my matches were against a guy that I have known for a lot of years and I've had a lot of experience in the ring with. So
Nice.
It was easy, nerve-wracking, but easy, because I was in there with the guy that I knew would take care of me, and he knew I would take care of him. So, and then basically, hey, there's a good picture of me and Adam Pearce.
Love Adam Pearce. Love that guy.
He is such a great dude. I've drank so many beers with him. It's ridiculous. There's a funny picture. There's a funny story behind that picture. I was standing in Gorilla, getting ready to go out and do my spot as the ringside doctor, and he come up to me and said, "Hey, let's see if we can pop the boys." And for a second, I didn't quite catch what he was saying. He pulls out his camera and says, "Smile," and we took the selfie. And next thing I know, he posted on his Facebook, so I stole it and reposted it on mine, and so yeah, we got a lot of. It was just funny. It's really cool to see Adam where he's at now. He's always been good to me. So
not to take away the thunder real quick, but he is easily one of the best on-screen backstage role characters WWE's had in a very long time. Like I like him in NWA, but I'm loving what he's doing right now as a backstage on-roll character. I love it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. He's always done a good job with like everything that he's done, and him doing the role that he's doing now is just, I don't know, he's just really, really good at it. Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Back to the question. What were we talking about? Your time at WWE doing.
The tryout. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the
anyway,
tryouts.
you get in there, you do the tryout, and then you hop out, and then 2 more people get in and do their tryout. And in the meantime, you have a couple of people come over and kind of talk to you, give you little critiques and stuff. After one of my matches, Drew Gulak and Lacey Evans actually come over and gave critique. So that was pretty cool. But I mean, the whole time you're looking around the ring, man, and you got the current superstars, you got past superstars, they're all watching, and you don't know who else is watching because they've always got a camera on. That was one thing I didn't know at first. Like one of the first couple of times I was there, nobody smartened me up to that. I had to find out later. Not that I did anything stupid on camera, thank goodness, or I wouldn't have been asked back. But it was just really, really nerve-wracking. I mean, you want to get out there and you want to do everything that you do normally in front of a crowd, and and there's a crowd, but it's a crowd of wrestling people of the biggest wrestling company in the world. So it was an awesome experience. If I don't ever get a chance to have another tryout with them, and that's not even like their full tryouts, like how they invite people down to the performance center or whatever. I've yet to get that opportunity. But these were just quick little tryout matches that they used to do for a long time. They don't do them anymore because live TV is pretty chaotic for those people. It's an amazing thing to see see the machine at work, but behind the curtain. So
yeah, That's awesome. But I mean, at least you had the opportunity to do tryouts. A lot of guys. I mean, it has to be like, I mean, it's a select few that are on the level that we're at that even get that opportunity, and but you still had WWE look at your work, which is still uh, was still a kind of an honor in its own.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
to,
yeah, absolutely.
a feather, you definitely a
And
feather in your cap and your resume. So
oh yeah, yeah. It's I mean, like I said, it's an experience that that'll always uh, be there with me, and that I'll gladly share the experience with anybody who cares to listen. So it's pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So so with the titles that you won so far in your career, like I said, you had over 22 years so far, and I know I'm probably gonna be digging back here. But is there any title that you've won that stands out to you as your most memorable one to you, and why?
When I won the cruiserweight title with Central States Wrestling for the very first time, I won it in my hometown, where I'm originally from. Um, it was in front of family, friends, coworkers, classmates. That would have been the very first title I ever won. Was that one, I believe? Gosh, I can't even remember when that was. Was that maybe we're back in maybe 2001? Maybe. Um, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing it was within the first year or so that I'd been wrestling, um, and yeah, it was. There was like a little mini tournament, um, and in that tournament were, let's see, it ended up being narrowed down to four guys: myself, Dingo, if you know who Dingo is from
Oh
the St.
yeah,
Louis area,
yep.
um, Delirious, and Matt Seidel.
Oh my gosh! Now that's a
That's
group.
a yeah, that's a group.
Holy
Yeah,
crap!
and in the finals, it ended up being me and Dingo.
Mm, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Just
love
being
me
the
some
company of
Delirious.
Delirious and Matt Seidel. Of course, Delirious, a long time Ring of Honor trainer. Um, Man, but just Dingo, an awesome worker out of here, and of course with Matt Seidel, you know,
yeah. Um,
this
little
is
history about. See, I held that cruiserweight title for probably 3 or 4 months, and then I ended up defending it against Delirious at a show in St. Joe, Missouri, and Delirious beat me for that title.
yeah.
So,
That's wicked.
yeah, and I've never gotten a rematch.
What a jerk. What a jerk.
Yeah, like you got your win. Now you lost. Now move along. Yeah,
Yeah, and then he goes on and does great things with Ring of Honor. I mean, geez.
yeah, that could have been me.
Yes.
No, but it's awesome to still be, just kind of be in the company with those three guys in the tournament, man. I
they
imagine
they were definitely a lot of fun to watch early on because you knew. I mean, especially Matt Seidel. I mean, you just
that
knew
was
that those guys had something special for sure.
Easily the cleanest shooting star press.
Oh,
Easily.
he
Easily.
he was doing that way back then.
Yeah,
He's like,
there's no competition when it comes to that shooting star press from him. There's
yeah,
just no one that. It's just beautiful. Thing of
absolutely,
gorgeousness.
absolutely.
So I'm not a big super fan of high flying. Like I like it and I like the art. I'm more of a technical based fan when it comes to the cruiserweights. I like groundwork, but you have to respect the ones that can put the high flying where it needs to be and how it needs to be. So Matt Seidel is one of those guys.
Absolutely.
When it comes to like cutting a promo or interviews, what kind of tips can you give other wrestlers? In what ranks do you rank some of your promos?
I'd have to say some of the promos I've done in just the most recent years, just in the last probably 3 or 4 years, has probably been some of my best, just because I've learned and watched, from some of the greatest. Some of the tips really is, use a little bit of truth. Don't don't get down and dirty with somebody and use, any, dirt on somebody or deep, dark secrets or anything like that. I mean, don't make it have a little bit of hint of truth in there and make it, and just make it as real and as believable as possible, and definitely follow, the steps of a promo. One, you got to introduce yourself because, you may be going into a territory. Example, I went to ACW this past Saturday. Nobody knew me there. I'd never wrestled for that company before. So my promo was, hey, this is the Iceman. So it's always important to introduce yourself. Then you want to plug the show and where the show is going to be at. Then if you already know who your opponent is, it's always good to build your opponent up. Don't instantly say, Rick Ruby, you are the crappiest wrestler ever and blah, 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 blah. No. You need to, build them up. You need to say, Rick Ruby, I have respect for you. You've been battling, whatever. Build them up, then tear them down. Then end out your promo by you can plug the show again and, always end it with like a catchphrase or something like that. So.
Yeah. Well, a good promo, you can make your points probably and everything else probably at least in 2 minutes or so, I would think.
Yes. Oh, and for the love of God, stop doing promos in cars. Young wrestlers, do not sit in your driver's seat and cut a promo. I don't care if you do it in your bathroom. Have some sort of a background or something. Stand outside if it's nice, or go downtown in the town you live in and find a painted mural on the wall. Something. But It drives me absolutely insane when I see guys cut a promo sitting in their car.
What is it about that? Like, I want some more insight on that because for me, I'm not really ever going to get in the ring, but I love promos. I love everything about a promo and a character development, everything else. And I fancy myself a man of tongue myself. So, what is it about that promo style of being in the car that like irks you?
Lack of creativity.
Respect on that. Yeah, respect.
And it's just not professional looking. Now, if you are recording your video vlog or, a video diary or something like that of sort, okay, cool. But if you're cutting a promo for a show you have coming up, I know me as, if I was the promoter, I wouldn't want to put that on my Facebook page or anything like that to be like, hey, I'm bringing in this guy of such and such years of experience. Here's what he's got to say. And bam, he's sitting in his car. To me, that's just not creative. Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. And I know there's a lot of guys out there who would agree. Find something that goes with your gimmick, really. For example, I did my promo for ACW. I was standing in my house in front of a picture of Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. I started it off Elvis Presley, king of rock and roll. Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Then I pointed to myself, the Iceman, the king of the Midwest.
Ooh, beautiful.
And then rolled into it like that. So I had to think a little bit about where I wanted to do the promo at first, then to what I was going to say and so forth like that. If you just, sit in your car, be like, yeah, I'm sitting outside McDonald's here, and after I had my Big Mac, I got thinking about Joe Blow. I'm going to fight Saturday, and well, you know what? Just like this burger made my stomach upset, I'm upset at the fact that he doesn't show me respect and blah blah blah. Yeah, that's, to me, that's not creative. You're just being lazy. So
do the promo while you're eating.
I'm with it.
Yeah. Now
that would have made it more interesting.
Now, if you did a promo while you're eating, you could think of some creative ways to do that. But if you're going to do that, go sit inside the McDonald's. Don't sit in your car. sit inside McDonald's. I mean,
I'm down with that.
Oh my gosh, no. I mean, and I wouldn't even do it in the bathroom either because it's like, you know, first off, there's some bathrooms are small, and then if you turn around, there's some people like giving selfies like when they're on their vanity or something. Then you got the
Yeah.
toilet next to them, and the next thing you know, the toilet lid's open. And it's
Well,
like, that's classic.
There's
Yeah,
a turd
well-
sitting in there.
Well, I mean, if you did a promo in the bathroom, you can be like, I just got done. I don't know. You could say something about your opponent being what you just dropped off in the toilet. I don't know. I mean,
Yes.
that would probably be the only really excusable reason to do promo in the bathroom. So,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No. But I would just say just do a clear backdrop, or at least even get a green screen background.
oh sure, yes,
You can add something to it,
sure. And if you need good lighting, get you one of those ring lights that they sell now.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That
what I'm
people use
using
for
right
TikTok
now. Like,
videos and stuff.
Look at this. Look at this lighting. It's beautiful. That's what I use.
I mean, there you go.
Nothing like a good halo.
My youngest daughter got one for Christmas. Guess who uses it more than her? This guy. It's
I want to get a new one, but yeah, I love my ring light.
hey, perfect. See, there you go.
Wow. So, out of all the time that you've been involved with the business, inside and outside of the ring, is there any moment or accolade that you would consider as your greatest achievement?
My gosh, you're really making me think. One of the greatest moments was my 3-year-old grandson coming to watch me wrestle.
Oh, cool.
That's sick.
It was a very emotional thing for me because, as the story goes, I sat and watched wrestling with my grandpa. My grandpa obviously was not around. He had passed on when I was young, so he never did get to see me wrestle. So when I became a grandpa, one of my goals is I want to stay wrestling long enough to where my grandson could see me do it, and really, and not just see me do it, but understand what's going on. So, so my daughter, my oldest daughter, got to bring him to a show here a few months back, and it meant the world to me. I can't even remember if I won the match or not, to be honest with you, because just knowing that he was out in the crowd, and I cut a promo beforehand, and it was the realest promo I'd ever cut in my life. I hope it was recorded somewhere because I'd like to watch it. But it was probably the realest and the best promo I've ever done. And it had to do with the fact that so many years later, my grandson's watching me do what I grew up with my grandpa, watching.
That hits home in my heart right there, brother. Like that's awesome.
That meant more to me than any titles I've ever won.
Wow, man.
Since
cool.
then, he's came and watched me, I think, at least 2 more times. I'm not exposing him too much to it, just a little bit here and there. And he gets into it as well. I mean, he starts chanting with the fans. If they're telling somebody you suck, he's doing it too. I mean, it's just there is video. I don't know if it was shared on Facebook or not, but he had come watch me wrestle a show here not too long ago, and I was getting beat down. And my daughter got video of him screaming and yelling, "Get off my papa!" He tried to get away, and I'm afraid if he would have got away, he probably would have gotten in the ring. But no, yeah, like I said, having him come watch me, especially for that very first time, that was probably the best moment ever in wrestling I had. So
that's super sweet. Like that one hits home with me. Like, because my kids, and Ruby probably has the same thing. I grew up with my great grandmother watching wrestling, and that's what got me into it. My father kept me the flame kind of going, and now my 4 children watch not only us as fans watching wrestling on TV, but they get to watch me come and run my mouth in the ring, doing commentary and stuff. So
Nice.
It's really fun to see that evolution and that passing down of the torch, and I can't wait. We're going to a live event in Springfield on March 19th, and the kids have no clue. So like, I can't wait to take them there to see that big wrestling house show. So for WWE, but yeah, that's a great story. I thank you for sharing. Like, greatly
Nice,
thankful.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'll be wrestling in Springfield, Missouri, March 12th.
Oh, nice. No, I won't be able to make that. I wish. I want to see more wrestling. Like, I am such in love. Ruby and I talk about it all the time, like how much I love the business, and just have gone back, watched old things. When you guys come on here, I don't know much about like the independent scene when it comes to local, because as a kid I wasn't fortunate enough to see all that.
Right.
So now I'm learning this as an adult, and he like, hey, we're doing this guest. So I'll like, when he sends me the stuff for who's coming out, I sit down and I just dig into all their work and stuff. And Chase and I, my oldest son, we watched probably about 4 or 5 of your matches, and like the one on the video between you and Curtis Wilde, like that was a fun match. That was like I enjoyed that stuff. So this is like a whole new experience that I soak it up. I'm a damn sponge when it comes to it, and I love it.
That's awesome.
But back to what we were talking here, and the questions is, the next one is, if there is a movie being made about the Iceman and his wrestling career, what would the movie title be, and what Hollywood actor would you want to portray you?
Oh, wow!
That's a toughie.
It is. I've never thought about that. Well, first let's go with the title. This may sound a little corny, but it's the first thing that popped in my head. The title could be as cool as I want to be.
It actually works. That works 100%.
Yeah.
Now, as far as who would play me, shoot,
Mr. Clean, right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Oh my God. I would say older version of me, Vin Diesel.
Okay.
There you go.
Probably, but Vin Diesel, not ripped and shredded Vin Diesel, though. It'd have to be one where he's gotten a little bit out of shape.
You already said Joe Pesci shave his head and just
Yeah. Well, see, I was wanting somebody a little bit taller, so that because in wrestling, we always embellish our height and weight and stuff like that. So,
yeah, for me,
I'll admit it. I'm 5'7", so if I can have somebody that's 6 foot tall play me, then perfect. Yeah, he's the only one I can really think of, mainly just because he's a bald actor. I wouldn't know who would be a good person to play me, like the younger version of me. Gosh, I would have no idea, to be honest with you. I've never thought about that.
Give you something to throw around now.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm actually trying to think of somebody too, but I just can't think of who would portray. Like a young.
I have no idea who could carry Michael Torch. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I can always go stupid if someone portrayed me. I'd just say, just throw Danny DeVito in there,
I mean, if Chris Farley was still around, that'd be perfect for you.
Oh,
shave his head.
Yeah, there you go.
I could see a Chris Farley playing you. I know the comedic side of the Ruby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be for sure. Ooh, that was actually kind of kind of a stretch on the questions there, but we
actually, it was a great question. That might be a question I'm going to have to start posing to all the other guys that I see. Especially if we're traveling together or something. You always got to have something to talk about. So that'd be a good conversation starter. So
Yeah, for certain. So before I get to my question, actually, one of our regulars on here, Corey, watches every week, and he actually came up with. I'm glad he came up with this, but he wants to know, how did you come up with the name the Iceman?
well, I can tell you how I did not come up with the name the Iceman. It has been mistaken over the years that I started calling myself the Iceman because of the movie Top Gun. Because of Val Kilmer's character on there, Iceman. That is not the case. How I come up with the name the Iceman was, it's a little bit of an homage to Iceman King Parsons. If you look at his style, mainly like the stuff that he wore, he wore like silver and bright and sparkly stuff. He danced to the ring.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. Now, I don't use any of his moves or anything like that, but I always enjoyed watching him whenever I was a kid. So my name is a little bit of an homage to him. How I got stuck with the name, though, was back in high school, I would enter talent shows and I would rap, sing, dance. And about the time I started really getting popular doing talent shows was about the time Vanilla Ice came out with Ice Ice Baby. So everybody's like, hey, you basically called me their Vanilla Ice, so Vanilla Ice would often refer to himself as Iceman. So then when I used to be a DJ. When I got into DJing, I would go by the name of DJ Howie Ice because my real name is Howard. So I would go by DJ Howie Ice. And then it just kind of progressed from there. Whenever I needed a name, when I first started wrestling, that was the first thing I thought of. And so the Iceman was born.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
There you go. So like you said, you mentioned something about a bucket list.
Yes.
Earlier, but if you had one made for what you wanted to do in the business, and is there anything left in the bucket? And if so, what one item left in the bucket would you like to do the most?
Have a match on national TV for either WWE or AEW.
Now, let me expand here. Now that you mentioned AEW, does it matter if it's any of the dark shows that go on YouTube, or you want something that's actually airing?
He said national TV.
Okay, so he wants TBS or TNT. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. If they offered me a match on Dark or what's the other one? Elevation.
Evolution. Yeah.
Or yeah. If they offered me that first, obviously I would take it.
Right.
But before I hang it up, which I talked a little bit to Ruby about this the other night, I already kind of have an idea when that's going to happen. So one of the things left on my bucket list is to hopefully be blessed with an opportunity to have a match on TV for, like I said, either AEW or WWE.
Tony Khan, you heard it here. Let's get it done.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not hard to find.
Everybody else. Why not, right?
I mean, I'm not hard to find, and I may not be all that expensive to bring in. I'm just saying. So, I mean, just hook a guy up with a hotel, maybe a couple of beers, and I do like pizza. So, I mean, there you have it.
See, not everybody needs a hot dog and a handshake.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just give me a slice of pizza and a cold Michelob Ultra, and I'm good to go. So,
winning. That's awesome. Terrible jokes. So, okay, we've hinted to it and everything else, but like once you actually finally do quit in-ring action, do you see yourself staying in the business, and how would that pan out? Where do you see yourself in the business after the boots unfortunately set to the side?
some of my family would prefer me not to stay involved in wrestling at all once I'm done. Just because of how much time I've, been in it, been away, from time to time. But if I was to stay in it, I mean, I wouldn't mind, training a little bit. If a company needed help, producing a show, booking a show, that sort of thing, I'd be more than happy to do that. So, and I have tinkered a little bit in promoting. I have promoted a few shows on my own in the past. So maybe either partnering up with a promotion, to be a promoter, or starting my own, would definitely be on a list of things to look at and consider.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there's some bucket list things in there I hint at. I see,
Possibly. Yes, possibly. Yes.
Yeah.
Just don't tell my wife.
So back to the bucket list things real quick. There's good questions that just popped up there. Who in local promotions would you like to still maybe wrestle?
Oh man, that's another good one, because there's some great talent out there, especially some new talent. I mean, that's out there that oh my gosh. Wow. I spend a lot of time with a lot of good young talent that's out there. Man, what's up with these hard-hitting questions? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, if any one name comes to mind, that's even, I mean, if you do have a name, because I mean, like I said, there's local promotions around where you're at. There's different regions.
There's all over the place. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a really open-ended question.
Yeah. There's a ton of talented guys out of the Kansas City area that I've done some training with, and I've worked on a ton of shows with, that I've yet to have any matches with. So
well, let me throw out your names then.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? I was gonna flip the question back to you guys and see if you had any suggestions.
Oh yeah. Well,
there's one that I can think. There's two actually. So last week's guest of Shrapnel being a cruiserweight himself, and you being one of the first cruiserweights for the Central State, I think that's what you said was, like, that would be a fun match for me. Just seeing the stuff that I saw with you and Curtis Wilde and some other matches we watched of yours. But one of my favorite small guys going right now in the indie scenes is Tommy Davis out of the St. Louis area. That'd be another fun one for me to watch you do. Those are the two guys that I come to mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as the Kansas City area, you may have already worked them. I don't know, but names that come to mind is Hollis Giroux, Aaron Clay is also a good one.
Yeah. I worked. You know what? I've never worked Aaron Clay in a one-on-one. Now, we were in like some multi-man scramble thing out in Kansas one time, but we only interacted for just about a minute. I've never worked Hollis, but I'm familiar with him. So,
yeah. Another guy that at least that worked with me when I was booking over in Evansville, Indiana, is Juno Granger.
Okay.
Yeah,
yep.
So he's out of Kansas City, Extreme Wrestling Center, with David Catton and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I wonder if he's still working or not, but I know he was the AIWF lightweight champion, Kit Reaver.
Yep. Yeah, he's still working. He mainly works over like in the Kansas area. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those would be good. Those are good young guys that are getting their feet wet and have got a good several number of years of experience underneath their belt that are really getting into their prime. So that those would be, I think those would be some good reputable names for you to kind of test the waters with.
Yeah, they all, from all those names that both of you guys suggested. I mean, I'd be down for it for sure. So
yeah. Well, I mean, as far as like we're speaking with names, I'm gonna see about if I can bring this up here because we're gonna be bringing up some posters here where you're gonna be here within this next month. Now, this is at the Benton County Fairgrounds this coming Saturday for it's the American National Championship.
Yeah, that's for it's for a company called Crown Championship Wrestling. They're
Okay.
based out in I think they're in the Bentonville, Arkansas area is where they're based out of, and they're going to be hosting. There's a company called Traditional Wrestling Alliance or something like that. They're a fairly new company. Their light heavyweight title had just become vacant, and so this is kind of a co-promoting type of thing.
Okay.
And so they're starting this is night one of a big tournament that they're going to have to crown a new light heavyweight champion.
Okay, awesome. And it says this bracket A, so there's 8 guys in here. You're on here, so apparently there's at least a bracket B. Who knows who else is going to be on this? But
Yeah,
that's general admission $15. So out of the Benton County Fairgrounds, and I believe where does it say when did it start? I guess starts at 7 p.m. Hello, big bold letters there.
yeah.
What an idiot.
It's right there in the middle, man.
Yeah, it's right there in the middle.
I'm starting to think that punch I gave him Saturday night may have rattled something loose. I don't know there.
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, this Missouri weather is the reason why my voice is kind of going hoarse today.
Right.
And finally, yeah, so I hate it. Oh wait, yeah. Well, there's your picture right there. So there's the reason to come to Benton County Fairgrounds right there.
Absolutely.
There you go. Here we go. So Saturday, March 12th, you were mentioning Mid-States Wrestling. Man, here's some good names in here. Luke Langley. I mean, I remember 10 years ago he was just getting into the business, and I was down in Kansas working. But you got Dak Draper coming in from ROH, who was with the NWL, which you were part of.
Mm-hmm.
And out of Fight KC, Niles Planquet, of course, down in that area. So that's going to be down in Springfield, Missouri. You just mentioned that.
Yeah. Now I'll mention real quick. You mentioned Niles Planquet. One of my favorite guys to wrestle. We have had countless matches against each other. We've even been tag team partners before. And you want to talk about a great talent? That guy right there.
Yeah. I mean, he's come over to the SICW several times, several occasions. Has wrestled, he's definitely a great talent to have inside the ring. So, absolutely. But this is pretty much a stacked card here, and
that's gonna be a great show.
Yeah. It like I said, Mid-States Wrestling always puts on, puts on fantastic shows, and they usually bring in a guest of some sort, whether it's wrestling related or not. Mid-States put on a show. Been quite a few months back where you had John Ranke from Tiger King there, which was awesome. I got to sit and talk to him. He was pretty cool. You gotta love Tiger King, right? I mean, that's some good stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the following week we'll put you back, I believe, in Eldon for New Breed Wrestling.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And a lot of guys here, the Slammer, who's actually been on the show. Boy, he's got a collection. It just blew me away.
Can we just say the Mercury vibes that I'm getting from that picture right there?
The what?
Look at Iceman right there in the middle, and don't tell me that's not like a better looking Joey Mercury.
Oh my gosh! Funny story. I worked the show with Dr. Tom Pritchard one time, and he said the exact same thing to me. We were actually in a segment in a match, and him and I were outside the ring together, and he huddled up to me and he said, "Hey, has anybody ever tell you that you look like Joey Mercury?" And I said, and we're right in front of the crowd. The match is going on that we've got to be involved in. And I'm thinking, and I just looked at him and said, yes, I've heard that before. So
to me, that'd be a compliment because that's a great talent too, right there.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was awesome to work the show with him, and then let alone him think that of me. It was just funny. You just would have had to been there to see him just casually do that, and then yeah, I'm sure my reaction was something else, but yeah.
It's one of those ribs in the middle of the show that you get, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Throw you off guard.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great poster.
Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, let's see. Yeah, three of the guys on this poster has been on this show. Let's see. Tyler Rodine, Big Texan, of course, out of SICW.
Oh, don't forget Slammer.
Oh, yes. I mentioned Slammer. You know.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So 4 guys. Yeah.
You know, as far as the guys on that poster, the only one I have not wrestled is Slammer.
That'd be a fun match.
Oh yeah, that would be a fun match.
That's two big personalities when it comes to characters. That'd be a fun, interesting little back and forth. I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure.
What's next, Ruby?
So I think I had one more poster here. Hey, you know about this, don't you, Z?
I was gonna bring it up earlier, but I'm like, no, we'll wait.
Yeah, everything.
Because I'll be there, hopefully.
Yeah, look who made the poster for Illinois Elite Wrestling on April 2nd. Yeah. Yeah. So,
wait, we're running a show WrestleMania weekend. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I know. But hey, you know, that's why I'm like, well, I'm going to miss WrestleMania. I'm like, no, you won't, you idiot. If you got Peacock, you can go back and watch the replay Sunday morning.
Why did you say Peacock?
Right.
If you don't have
as long as Iceman's putting a boot to chaos, I'm totally in.
Yeah, this actually just came about just in the last day or two. It was confirmed. So I'll be making my debut for those guys. So
yeah,
good locker room. I was happy to be there. 2 weeks ago? It was good to be back home and seeing everybody. We had a great crowd, so hopefully we can keep that momentum going. I think you're in for a good family group there.
Good.
Yeah,
that's what I like to hear.
The show they had the house packed there, so
it's
good. Yeah, they'll definitely get loud for you, and if they don't, then just tell me, and I'll go kick the promoter because I live about 30 minutes away from him, so I'll just go.
All right,
we'll put him into a wall tonight on Wreckfest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, you know, the crowd may not like me. I've never had the best luck in Illinois. About anywhere I've ever wrestled at in Illinois, they hate me for some reason. So
Illinois sucks anyway.
Yeah, it's something about them not having class. No, just joking.
Hey, I mean, I live here, and I'll say it. We suck.
Well, you live in Quincy. There's a difference.
There's even worse.
There's Illinois, and then there's the town of Quincy in Illinois.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you know, Quincy isn't all that far from me. I don't believe isn't that on the other side of Hannibal, Missouri?
Yeah, we're about 20 minutes from north of Hannibal.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's on that side. So I think that's all I.
Can we get a Guido Iceman dance off there, Alan? Like, make it happen. I'm going to book it right now. I'm just a commentator, but I'll book it right now.
If you book a three-way dance off between him, Guido,
I ain't dancing.
and GQ,
I'm going to laugh the whole time.
I saw GQ dancing this weekend, and I don't know. He'll be a close second to the Iceman, I think.
All GQ does is dance to the buffet table. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Ah!
Wow.
Nice.
That deserves. Dang. Wow. All right.
Good times.
We got more questions here. So, speaking of going on the road, hitting all these spots and everything here, out of your time that you've had traveling to different promotions across the states, do you have any memorable road story that you can share, or that's like a funny road story, or like a memorable fan experience that stuck with you?
Well, remind me next time you and I are in a locker room together. I'll tell you the road stories then.
Okay. Hey, yeah, that's fine, man. We'll shoot the breeze.
Um,
No,
not
Dale.
not that I
No,
have any,
Dale.
not that I have any like all that bad. Some I may not want to say on air. So, but I do have some pretty decent road stories. Not like ones that'll knock your socks off, but let's just say next time I see you guys, remind me to tell you the story of my interaction working a show with Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Ooh, that should be
Okay.
good.
Yeah, that will. Yeah, just the name itself already has me perked to begin.
Yeah. Because Jimmy
now,
was a wild guy.
Oh, and boy was he this night. Now, as far as like fan reaction,
Or like a fan experience, like
fan experience.
Yeah, like a fan experience.
Oh, you mean like an experience between myself and the fans?
Yeah, like I mean, it can be something like outside of wrestling, like if they pointed you out of the store, or maybe something nice that you did for them, and it's something that they remember, something like that,
Oh yeah, I mean, I got quite a few of those. Yeah. There's been numerous times I've been stopped in a store, or something, and it's like a picture with somebody, and then there's been some times where I've had some parents hit me up to make an appearance at their kid's birthday party or something, and they had just seen me wrestle and stuff like that. So that stuff's been really cool, and a crazy experience with fans, and I actually think I just told the story to somebody just this past Saturday night. Actually, it happened to me when one of the few times I worked at SICW, and boy, the fans there absolutely hate me. And I had cheated to win my match, and
It's not cheating until you get caught.
Yeah, well, these two fans claim they caught me, but the referee didn't see anything. So, but
Not cheating.
And so anyway, I go to roll out of the ring, and I go to walk off, but then there's a guy that stands up on one side of me, and blocks my way out that direction. So I turn around to go. There's another guy standing there. So now I've got two guys standing next to me. They proceed to threaten to kick my ass. One guy actually raised his fist up and started kind of squaring up with me and taking a few steps towards me. And at the venue in East Carondelet, there's no security railings or nothing, so the fans are like right there. So as this one guy was coming towards me, I had to keep a close eye on the guy that was behind me because he was starting to do the same thing. So the guy behind me was kind of an older gentleman. And so I instantly had to start thinking of my way out of this situation. I was thinking, well, I don't want to have to fight either one of these guys because, I like Herb Simmons. So I don't want to do any, I don't want to do anything crazy at his promotion. So anyway, I turned around and finally got the older gentleman to sit back down. Now I turn around to this other guy, and he's just madder than hell. I mean, you could see in his eyes, he's ready to fight. So I finally just flipped out and said, fine, you want to fight? Let's just do it. Let's go. You go outside right now, and I'll follow you right now, and we'll get it on. He's like, fine. And he dropped the F-bomb multiple times, turned around, walked out the door. I turned around and walked right to the back. And because I wasn't going to fight this guy, but I wanted to get him away from me. So anyway, what made it even funnier is once I got to the back, of course, I'm all like telling the other guys, I'm like, man, did you see just what happened? You could see on the monitor in the back, this guy comes storming back in, pissed, looking for me. He's mad. And so at the end of the night, me and my buddy that rode with me, we walked right out the back door and snuck out to my car and hit the road. So that was one of my craziest fan experiences that I ever had. So,
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
hey, but I did my job, right? I mean, I had the people hate me. So,
yeah,
Yeah, that's all it's about.
yes.
yeah, and yeah, some kind of get carried away, but you know, it's
There's a lot of fans get carried away, and this is it. It amuses me, not only now being on the other side of the barricade, but when I was just a fan and watching that fans like got so mad. It's like, just sit down, relax. These guys are half like, you're a fat drunk guy. Relax. It's okay.
oh my God. Yeah, I would have been like, hey, it's only a game. Did you bet on it? Oh,
So with all this fun we're having, we're going to come to a really fun part of the night. We're going to wind down here with a nice little game show that we like to call "Make Me Choose Between." Okay, so we're gonna pick some things that, not necessarily wrestling, but we're definitely going to get into some wrestling picks. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
First and foremost, fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Fiction. Ruby, what do you got? I'm going open book here. We need to go across the board.
I don't know. I'm kind of more of a. Yeah, I would have to say fiction. Yeah.
And see, I like an even amount
There you go.
because I love fiction stuff and I love nonfiction stuff. So I'm an even amount kind of guy. What kind of question is this? Jump rope or jump jacks?
Yeah.
Jump rope or jumping jacks?
Yeah, I mean,
Jump rope.
I'm going jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I always get my foot caught on the rope.
I was gonna say. I say I'm going jumping jacks because I rather would jiggle than trip. So.
Bumper stickers or vinyl stickers on the car?
I'm not really a fan of either on a car, to be honest with you.
I have both.
You have both. Okay.
Actually, yeah, I've got vinyl stickers on windows, but I got magnets on the body of the car. But if you're gonna go through a car wash that's gonna be heavy powered and like with heavy brushes, you might want to see about taking those off first, or else they may not be with you when you get out.
Right.
Found that out
Gift
the hard
card
way.
or actual gift?
I'm sorry, what? Gift card or actual gift?
Correct.
For me personally, I would have to say gift card, as long as it's to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay. I mean, respect. I like some wings.
That's one of my favorite places to go. So anyway,
This one's actually a difficult pick for me because there's something special about an actual gift. But then other times it's like, give me a gift card and I'll get what I want. Like I can respect that. Like, so I'm gonna go either for me. What about you, Ruby?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I would have to say gift cards because I'm kind of hard to shop for, and I'm an Amazon junkie, so it'd have to be a gift card. I would have to say.
All right, let's get shallow now. Looks or personality?
Oh man.
Don't worry about that. It's okay.
Nothing broke.
Nothing's broke.
Was it the anticipation of my answer that got you to knock stuff over there?
I bumped the cord.
Oh my gosh. That is pretty shallow. But here's my answer. Need to have some sort of looks to attract in order for me to find out about the personality.
Luckily, my wife has both.
Mine too.
Mine as well, but I think in the day, just as a person, personality wins out because you can be a 10, but your attitude can be a negative 10, and I don't deal
That's a
with that.
fact.
Oh,
That's a fact.
that's a whole nother podcast.
Would you rather schedule something or be spontaneous?
Both.
That's my guy. That's the same way. I'm with it too. I'm cool with both, but we live a very now that we have 4 kids, it's kind of changed. But before, my wife and I would be like, it's Thursday night, it's 5:00. Let's go to St. Louis. Screw it.
Right.
But now it's not that way anymore. We have to plan a little bit more ahead.
Shoot.
But it used to be that way. Like, we went Olive Garden or something. Screw it. Let's get out of town. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got too much going on in my life outside of wrestling, including work. I have to have a schedule. At least give me something to go by so I know kind of what to look for. But then we'll play by
Shit, I was
ear.
that guy that would call in. Screw it.
Yeah. Right.
Eye for an eye or turn the other cheek?
Depends on the situation.
Agreed. 100%. I will turn the other cheek on 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to turn the other cheek and just go the other way and forget about it. But you can hit one string, and that's mess with family, friends, or my kids. And guess what? You're going to get a whole nother bear.
Absolutely.
Z took the answer right out of my mouth. A lot of times I will turn the other cheek because it's not worth it. But if you start hurt, I don't care about me, but if you start messing with my family, it's like Donkey Kong. So,
Yep.
Now the fun part. The reason we're all here. Wrestling. Hulk Hogan. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
When I was a little kid, I was a Hulkamaniac. However, when I got introduced to Stone Cold as an adult, he quickly won me over. So I'm going to have to say Stone Cold.
Agreed. 100%. Stone Cold is the best. Like, just everything about Stone Cold, the essence, the aura, what he did for the business at that time, for me, was just huge. And great moment, great personality, great character. Not to take away from Hulk Hogan, because I was a Hulkamaniac too. But when I was a kid, it was real, damn it. It was real.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he switched, it became F.U. Hogan.
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
It stuck.
Definitely. Well, and
yeah.
between those two, I could see myself hanging out with Stone Cold and relating with him more on a lot of different things than I could with Hogan.
Well, another thing too is like what you just said is like Stone Cold the character and Stone Cold that we know past wrestling, it's the same guy really. He really hasn't changed, hasn't morphed. Hogan, on the other fortunate hand, we kind of got to see some dark stuff about him, and it really changed my thought process on that guy, period. Like, I'm just not a Hulk Hogan fan because of that. And like, I could really lose respect for a guy like John Cena if bed bugs come out on him. I hope God he never does, because I love to hate that guy. Like, it's my favorite good guy heel ever. So like, that's just my take on that.
Well, if you're going to be at that show April 2nd, remind me to tell you a story about that particular gentleman you just mentioned.
10-4. All right. 2 of the greats, in my opinion, right here. Ric Flair or Harley Race.
Wow.
2 of the greats. No one does it better. in my opinion. Neither one of the like.
That's oh man. Got to meet Harley a couple times. Worked for his promotion a few times. But man, it's really hard to decide on that because, I mean, each guy's body of work speaks for itself. Oh.
I'm a diehard Ric Flair fan, so it has like not that I'm not a diehard Harley Race fan because I'm a huge Harley Race fan, but I got to know him as a manager again. That's a wrestler that I got to know as a manager and had to go back and watch all the greatness that he performed in the ring.
Yeah,
Ric Flair, I got to see the progression at least through that era of WCW and stuff, and I was always a woo Four Horsemen until I die. Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, like, beautiful stuff. So I got to go Rick.
I would have to go Harley on this one, all for the fact that the whole territory era with Harley and the Briscoes and everything else coming up, Harley was a legitimate tough badass. He would rip the rawhide right off the cow while it was still beating, while the heart was still beating. Harley was just truly one of the toughest men ever. He didn't put up with anything, and he made, if you crossed him, he found a way to deliver a message to not mess with them again. And going back to the previous one real quick though, I would have to say Hogan, because I don't think the wrestling business would have thrived if Hogan never went back to Hiro Matsuda's gym after he broke his ankle. If Hogan quit after breaking his ankle, you never knew where this business would be at today. So,
I want to agree with you a little bit on that, but I think there were still stars that could have brought, like, there's the likes of Ultimate Warrior, Macho. Like, I think guys could have taken his place easily.
Yeah, Macho Man, of course. Yeah,
would have easily taken the place to continue that torch until Stone Cold hit the bricks. See, that's a good. That's a really deep. Ooh, that's a deep one, man. I like that, Dave. Ooh, I gotta stop doing that.
It's all right.
Terrible. All right. One of the greatest feuds of all time in professional wrestling. If you're not a professional wrestling fan and don't know this feud, I'm sorry for you. Fabulous Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. Who do you got?
Man, that is a feud I grew up watching.
That's a feud I've went back and watched many of times.
I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Right.
Fact.
Now, I mean, you have to ask the question, would either group or individuals from those groups become a household name without each other?
Agreed. I mean, that can be said for any great rivalry whatsoever. So I'm automatically going to go Freebirds. One, I am a bad guy heavy fan, because to me, without a good bad guy, you're never going to have the good guy. Never. It's just never going to happen.
Oh,
so you have to have the bad guy, no matter what.
I would probably go with Freebirds just by a slight edge. I love Michael Hayes' style. If you think about it, I make my entrance flashy. Everything I do is flashy. Michael P.S. Hayes was the same way. The thing about that group is each individual from that group had something different, and I think that's what made that group really good. Really. That's really about all I can say is, like, each one of those guys. Michael Hayes, great on the microphone. Terry Gordy,
Banging in the ring.
I mean,
Banging in the ring.
I mean, just big muscle, power, and then, Buddy Roberts, speed, I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, definitely not taking anything away from the Von Erichs for sure, but I'd have to go at the end of the day, Freebirds.
100%. 100%.
I would kind of have to do it. I would have to do the same thing because, like I said, Gordy, Roberts, Michael, and even when they went over to WCW, I mean, yeah, they kind of got too glittery at some point, but those guys carried on the legend and they carried on the tradition beyond world class. Von Erichs were pretty much world class. When that faded out, when that era faded out, a lot of those guys pretty much went away, except for Kerry, who had about a couple years with WWF. But I mean, a lot of those guys faced a lot of tragedy too. But But like I said, obviously, once for the Von Erichs, you wouldn't have had the whole hotbed in Dallas for world class. And but as far as carrying on the torch beyond world class, I mean, I would have to give it to the Freebirds on that. So,
yeah.
So NWA or WWF? Now, is this, before we get really into this, Ruby, is this NWA / WCW or is this strictly NWA?
I'm pretty much going back into through 70s and 80s.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's why I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Oh, then if you're going through that time era, then I definitely got to go NWA. Me
too. But that's what I grew up on. I was NWA, WCW, so I watched all that progression. I didn't get into WWF until the Finger Poke of Doom, actually. like I knew about WWF and everything and watched it as a kid, and Hogan being the good guy and all that stuff, but I didn't really switch the channel until the Finger Poke of Doom, and then I've been WWE, WWF ever since. So with that being said, new promotion wise, WWE or AEW?
I think AEW still has something to prove, in my opinion. They're putting on great matches and good TV, but I still think they have yet to really prove anything yet. I mean, they're 2 years in?
There'll be, I think we're going on 4.
Is it 4?
3 years for sure. 3 years for sure, going on 4, if not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure.
I think so.
My problem with AEW now, that's where my heart more lies, and just the fact that I'm over WWE style of booking and how there's I don't know, it feels like we're getting the same regurgitated thing over and over and over again. But there's still great storylines, great wrestlers, great competitors there, guys that are still killing it, like Randy Orton, Matt Riddle. I love those guys, and that's why I keep tuning in. And of course, my name bearer, the Miz, who I am a huge mark for, and I will continue to say that. He's the reason I could continuously tune into their company. The one thing AEW is missing for me to go 100% AEW, because I'm still actually leaning towards WWE, and most people would not think that, is they don't have the big angle. They just don't have it yet. They don't have the star. They don't have the big angle or something to make me really be like, AEW's everything. That's my feeling behind it.
No, you make a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got Roman Reigns, who's killing it as this top heel, where you want to see this guy get his face punched in. There's not really one person in AEW that makes me feel that way. I just enjoy their work. That's it. Right. It's like a painting that I'm okay looking at.
Right. Yeah. I would have to say, I mean, obviously WWE has it right now as far as any type of, obviously with the revenue and getting their name out there. They've already been out there. If it wasn't for the Saudi Arabia agreement that they had, because, man, that country is just pouring in supporting WWE with so much money and revenue. AEW has got some work, but yeah, I mean, I like seeing the matches, I like seeing some of the angles, but nothing that's too over. There's nothing that's like really standing out though, and I kind of wish they need to push the envelope a little bit more. So
I think the Punk versus MJF thing is really starting to catch fire and be a great storyline for them. If they can piggyback off of that into some angle, would be amazing. They just don't, like I said, and I understand how people's thought process is like, oh, today's wrestling, you don't need that one standout. No, you need that one standout. I'm sorry. You need that one guy that puts asses in the seats for everything. And I don't care if it's a guy or a female, actually, because there's females now that are 10 times better than the dudes. But there needs to be that one person that like you're literally going to see, and then everything else is icing on that cake, boo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things. Tag team wrestling or singles?
Singles.
See, I'm tag team all the way. I've always just loved, like, yeah, of course, you have that dream as a kid to hold the big one, right? But tag team wrestling, man, there's an art form in that tag team world that I just love.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I've had my favorite tag teams and stuff over the years. Personally, singles, but yeah. Definitely not taking anything away from tag teams.
Right.
Eagle's wing or the big gold belt?
Eagle.
I'm going big gold belt.
The big gold, yeah.
Love the big gold belt. Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Who do you got to win?
Roman.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't have any more questions, Ruby, unless you do.
No, unfortunately, I don't.
That's all good. It's getting close to my bedtime anyway, fellas.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm with you.
Yeah, we're good here.
I mean-
but hey, best of luck to you here. You're gonna have a busy month. I think you maybe have one weekend off within the next 5 weeks, but definitely best of luck to you. Thanks again for doing this for us. But check out Iceman if you're around the St. Louis area. He'll be back in Granite City for IEW on April 2nd. Like I said, New Breed in Eldon, March 19th. Springfield for Mid-States, March 12th. And then Crown Championship Wrestling this Saturday at the Benton County Fairgrounds. So that will be found at the Iceman. Look for the Iceman on Facebook. Go to his page, check out all his media. Like his page and follow him. He's the man's definitely got a style like no other. So once again, brother, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, you can find me on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Oh, I gotta find you on TikTok now. I hope you're doing TikTok dances.
I have. That's just my TikTok really has nothing to do with wrestling, but it's fun. So yeah,
that's the great thing about it is we get to see every side of wrestlers now. When because you guys are just humans, just the same, and to see both that human side and that wrestling side, I think that's a great aspect of wrestling. I know people say the K word is dead, but I think it all blends together now.
Sure.
If you really put the aspect to it, stop getting on the dirt sheet. Stop listening to all that BS. Let it just all blend and be one and stuff. And
100%.
Highly recommend everybody go to New Breed Wrestling on YouTube and watch the episodes that they have up there. That's great stuff. I can't wait to see what else you guys produce out of there. And like Dave said and Ruby said, I gotta stop. I'm terrible. Ruby said, thank you so much for being with us. I had a blast.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very much. Once again, we thank the Iceman for joining us. And for the Gem City Mouse Zmiz, I am Rough Cut Rick Ruby. We thank you very much for joining us again. And tune in same time, same channel next Tuesday night. And have a great week. And we'll see you next week. Thanks again for tuning in to tonight's episode of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. Don't forget our friends at the following: Outside the Ring STL, the Searcher and Hide podcast, and We Talk Wrestling. The Falls Count Everywhere podcast is an LTX Enterprises production.